were trying to decide between Scott and David Hayter, talking about the Metal Gear franchise and talking about Snake. So we're gonna start off with that, I think. So we're gonna check out David Hayter talking about the franchise, and like, if anyone knows about this franchise, it's David Hayter. I mean, he's been a part of this franchise for decades, and I want to say he tried to actually get a movie for Metal Gear made, I think. I remember something several years ago talking about him trying to actually get a Metal Gear movie made. It just never came to pass. I think like a Metal Gear movie I think could be pretty cool. Yeah, since from the beginning, the only game he has not voiced Snake was Phantom Pain. Phantom Pain is the only time he did not voice Snake, and that's because it was a different Snake and it was done by Kiefer Sutherland. So that's the only time he did not voice Snake. Haha, Bobcat. Well, and Terraria, that's what I was gonna say. If they did a Metal Gear movie, it could be good. It would definitely need to be Metal Gear Solid if they were gonna do a movie. I definitely think it has to be Metal Gear Solid for the movie. And then the question would be, should it be a live action or should it be like an anime or CGI anime? And honestly, I honestly don't think Metal Gear would translate well into live action. That's the kind of the Metal Gear is the kind of game that really would only translate well to anime, because it was made in that style. So that's the only way a Metal Gear movie would work is if they went anime with it. Honestly. Yes, Andrea? Yes, Snake Plissken was the inspiration for the character of Snake, and the cover art of the original Metal Gear was they used Michael Biehn from the first Terminator movie for the cover art of the first Metal Gear game on NES. Yeah, well, I used the actor's name, not the character's name at best. But yes, they used Michael Biehn as Kyle Reese from Terminator as as the box art for the original Metal Gear game. Okay, so let's hear what David Hayter has to say about this franchise.
What can I say about Metal Gear Delta?
Metal Gear Delta?
You're pretty good.
Hi, I'm David Hayter, and I have a couple of different careers. I'm a filmmaker, screenwriter, X-Men, X2, Watchmen, but I'm best known as the voice actor for...
What? Yeah, did you guys know that? David Hayter worked on the first two X-Men movies and Watchmen. Like, he is a legit screenwriter, and it, like, he's not just a voice actor. He is, like, a legit screenwriter. Yeah. And he's obviously done some really big budget stuff. So this man is multi-talented.
For Solid Snake and Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, hang on.
The voice actor for Solid Snake and Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna let these maniacs start a war today. In that case, tell me the truth about this new type of nuclear warhead. My name is Plissken. Iroquois Plissken.
Yeah, and that was from, okay, I never played this Metal Gear. This is the one where you play Raiden. But yeah, this was a deliberate play. Like, everybody who played this game knew who this was. Not only by the voice, because obviously it was David Hayter doing the voice, but because of this name, Iroquois Plissken. Because, as Andrea pointed out, as many of us know, the character of Snake was based on Snake Plissken. The name for Snake was based on Escape from New York and LA. Actually, New York, because LA, I don't think Escape from LA had even come out yet. So, everybody fucking knew this was Snake. And, this was, what, Metal Gear Was this Metal Gear Solid 2? I think it was where you play Raiden. Was it Metal Gear Solid 2? Yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the voice alone gave away that, okay, this is Snake in disguise. We knew this.
Iroquois Pliskin. The rebels are out there. How thoughtful.
So how did I incorporate the changes?
Fun fact, this particular segment in the Henry Stickmin collection, there's an homage to Metal Gear Solid. The male VA for the game, Puffballs, did an amazing Hayter impression for this. Oh! Cool. Oh, chat, hang on 1 second, okay? I got a call coming in. Hang on. Sorry about that. I got a phone call I had to take. I'm sorry. I'm back. I am back. I'm back. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Did I miss anything important? I believe I mentioned at the beginning of the Escape from L.A. Russ himself is wearing the same Snake Plissken outfit he wore in he has had Escape from New York 16 years. Yes! Yes, Rip Asson. Yes, I think it's been mentioned before, but I also did know about that. I did. Okay, let's continue, since I had to pause, awkwardly.
To each iteration of Snake each time I played them. It depended upon the script and where.
And by the way, chat, Meryl was fucking hot. I thought Meryl was so hot. What about you guys? See, was like, especially what they did, like the way she looked in Metal Gear Solid 5 with the next gen graphics. She looked badass and smoking hot in Metal Gear Solid 5. And I love how, like, the final gunfight she had with that guy that was part of her group, and feel like having a gunfight and making out at the same time, and then at the end she's in a wedding dress with her fucking Desert Eagle strapped to a thigh holster under her dress. I mean, oh, Shadowspur. Okay, Meryl was introduced in the game Metal Gear Solid. She is the Colonel's, like, Snake's superior officer's daughter, who is basically a soldier herself, and she's hot. And yes, Sniper Wolf is hot also. She had a more tragic beauty. Meryl was just flat out hot. She was. Quiet was good too. I loved Quiet in Metal Gear 5. Quiet was absolutely hot, but yeah, exactly right, Bass. She was hot in a different way. She was like dead silent, like she communicated with her eyes. She was sultry. So I'll show you some. They might show some pictures here in this video. If not, I'll show you.
Snake or Big Boss were in their lives at that point, how old they were, how much they'd been through. So Snake in Metal Gear Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid was already retired and sort of run down and didn't want to come back.
Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake.
Naked Snake, back in the past, and Snake Eater, you know, sort of the beginning of his career, and he's not quite as beaten down, and he's fired up about where he's going to be. And then, of course, in Metal Gear 4, he's aging rapidly, so he's still 35, but he looks 70.
And by the way, chat, they are remastering Snake Eater. Did you guys hear about that? They're completely remastering Snake Eater. It might even be so much as like a remade game, but they're completely redoing Snake Eater with modern graphics. Well, Blade, you know what? There could be a plan where if this remastered or redone Snake Eater does well, they may re-release the originals too. They may redo Metal Gear Solid with next gen graphics. Okay, Tyrion. Hope you enjoy the fight. Let us know how it goes. Oh no, I realized that, Vinny. I realized Snake Eater was the third game. Canonically, it's the first game. And so I'm saying canonically Snake Eater is the first game. That's what I was referring to there. So yeah, and if Snake Eater does good, then maybe they'll redo Metal Gear Solid, which would be cool.
Rapidly, so he's still 35, but he looks 70, and that one was started out about here, and then just progressively fell apart throughout the entire game, and got worse and worse as his aging went on. So, it's always a matter of where the character's at.
Very anime timeline.
And trying to add that nuance into each performance.
Everything has its beginning, but it doesn't start at one.
That's the crazy thing. Listen to that again. That doesn't sound like David Hayter. If you hear that, this does not sound like David Hayter.
Into each performance.
Everything has its beginning, but it doesn't start at one.
That did not sound like him at all. And that's fucking talent. Yes. Yes, Metal Gear Solid was done by Hideo Kojima. Correct. That's why some of it was, just batshit crazy. Especially with Metal Gear Solid 5. Why it was a lot of, plenty of it was kind of batshit crazy. But yeah. It's impressive voice acting. That's, impressive voice acting on the level of, Mark Hamill being the Joker and you not realizing it's him the first time you hear it. If you did not know going in, you would never know that's his voice. I didn't realize that David Hayter in Metal Gear Solid 5 was doing the voice of Big Boss. I had no idea.
That name Paz mentioned at the end, Cipher. It's a code. It means empty. It also means...
Zero.
A world of electronic intelligence, built on codes. And at the center of it all, a zero.
Kaz.
This is the oldest we've ever seen.
Yes.
Big Boss.
With Psycho Mantis, Hefe. Yeah. I always thought that was cool. And how Psycho Mantis could read your memory card too. It's I see you like playing, Final Fantasy, the Metal Gear game could actually read your memory card. I always thought that was really cool. And they tried to do something like that in, was it 5 or was it 4? I can't recall. It was one of the two, either in 4 or 5. They tried to do that again, but it didn't work. They tried to I'm going to move the controller, and it didn't fucking work. And he's like, what? It's not working. And they actually make a joke about how it's a different console. The core of the voice Merc Rumley used for the Joker was the same voice he used for the Trickster. Yes! Yes! Andrea, yep.
And like I say, in Snake Eater, it's the beginning of his career, so he's young and he's fired up. But by the time he's, doing what he's doing in Peace Walker, he's kind of turned a little twisted, and he's been through a lot at this point. So there's a lot of bitterness woven into it, and I always look at both Snake's lives as a long being dragged across a long dirt road, and so the older they are, the rougher they sound, and that's pretty much where this performance came from.
I mean, there's a reason why Metal Gear is one of the most popular video game franchises. It's fucking referenced in... Okay, Big Doug, you're referring to a character. Hi, Technopath. Yeah, but there's a reason why people love Metal Gear, why they dive into the lore so they know what's happened canonically, and why it's fucking referenced in other games. It's Metal Gear is actually referenced in what was it called? Oh fuck. Chat, help me out. It's the Tom Clancy game. I'm completely blanking on fucking name. Oh my god. No, not Rainbow. It was the one that Michael Ironside did the voice. Splinter Cell. Thank you, Roblesbird. I completely blanked on the name. Splinter Cell. Yeah, they fucking reference it in Splinter Cell, one of the later Splinter Cells, where he says that where he talks about, like, there was a guy I knew, I think he said he was an Army Ranger or said Army Special Forces. Like, he was talking, a guy that always wore a bandana. Like, he was talking about Snake, and this was in the Splinter Cell game. It was a cutscene in the Splinter Cell game, one of the later ones. He talks about, what is it? Sam Fisher talks about knowing about Solid Snake in Splinter Cell. These two are not in the same franchise. Metal Gear is its own thing. Splinter Cell is part of the Tom Clancy universe. But he actually talks about, like, it's obviously he doesn't outright say it, but it's everybody knows he's talking about Snake in Splinter Cell. That's how huge the Metal Gear franchise is. It actually crosses franchise boundaries like this. 'Cause it's a great series. Like, everybody loves the Metal Gear series. Because the stories are, like, Hideo Kojima wrote such wonderful stories for it.
Well, it's easiest if you can see the character, either in the finished game or sometimes we just get the mocap videos. So when I can see Snake move, I can put that movement into my performance. If he's climbing up on something, I can add in that action sound. To a certain extent, acting is acting, but with voiceover, I think, you just have to put a little more edge onto it, a little more emotion, make it stand out a little further so that it doesn't feel just, dead, because you don't. In live acting, you can use your eyes, you can use your face, and here, you're dealing with computer avatars. So there's just a trick to putting a little more emotion, a little more texture into the voice, but hopefully not to the point where it's ridiculous. Although,
yeah, it's so funny. You can actually hear the Snake character voice coming out in his real voice there when he's just conversing. Because obviously his normal speaking voice is not the same as Snake's, but you can hear it in how he's just speaking normally. You can hear the Snake voice creeping in as he's just talking.
Sure, some would say that this is extremely ridiculous. And I'm fine with her.
And now, we're the ones being tested.
Snake's always a little ridiculous, and that's okay.
Work with us. It's gonna be a lonely battle. No good or evil. No winners or losers. It all started with him. Zero.
So that we're standing over Major Zero, who created the Patriot, and my clone father is bringing me up to speed on what has happened in the world.
Yeah, pretty much, Xanax.
The interesting thing about this is just prior to the scene, Snake, because when he dies, he's going to spread fox dye and create an epidemic. So he had gone to kill himself and pulled the trigger, and it went bang, and everything went black. And then it turned out that Snake had missed somehow. So, not sure how that happened, but then Big Boss showed up.
It's called plot armor, David. That's how he missed. It's called plot armor. And I will say, I remember when I played Metal Gear Solid 5, I was not prepared for how long this fucking end cutscene was. This ending cutscene, I could not believe how long it was. It seemed to go on, I think this was this end cutscene, I think was 20 minutes, honestly. I think it was. And I'm watching this going, how long is this cutscene? Is there going to be more after this? I couldn't believe it.
With Major Zero to, just brief me on the state of the world before I go to Meryl's wedding, where she's going to marry Johnny Sasaki instead of...
There it is, yeah. She's in her wedding. Here's Meryl, but hang on. I'm kind of blocking her, and so are you. It's not a great shot of her. Maybe we'll see better, but that's Meryl. and she's in her wedding dress, and in the scene just before this, she actually pulls up her skirt, grabs a 50 cal Desert Eagle from a thigh holster and points it right into her father's face. Like, this is not a great picture. If they don't show more, I will show you a better picture of Meryl after the video. She's fucking gorgeous. She is. This still frame does not do her justice.
Me, and then I'm going to go back to my ranch and die of old age.
I'm taking it upon myself to send Zero back to nothing.
Alright, so he's going to murder Zero.
You were
What?
right. Oh, it's not about...
Dracel, what are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? I haven't been on the phone for the last 10 minutes or something. What are you talking about? I hung up the phone a long time ago. Yeah, she's marrying the guy that she knocked the fuck out in the first game. Yep. I guess so, Raiden. Yeah, Dracel, I've been off the phone for a while. But yeah, we're okay, ads, okay. Yeah, Dracel, refresh your stream. Yeah, okay. You lagged out, my guy. You lagged out. I've been off the phone for a while now. Unfortunately, you got sacrificed to the lag gods. So, it's okay. I mean, you're back. You're back. Yeah, we've been back into this video for a while. But yeah. And Vinny, you're right. Yeah, it did come full circle because they actually referenced that. That, like, apparently the guy, it's so funny. The guy she marries has, like, irritable bowel syndrome, where if he gets nervous, he's, like, shits himself. Or something like that. Cause he does it, like, in Metal Gear Solid 5. Snake catches him, he's hiding in a box, taking a shit. Snake kicks over the box, and he kinda goes, huh? And that's the guy she marries. And that's the one where in the final gunfight scene, they're basically, like, shooting bad guys and making out at the same time. It's kind of funny. Oh, yeah! He did not get that from Fox Die. Come on. Remember, he didn't have any of the nanos. Remember that. Remember, he was the only one that didn't have the nanomachines. When did they say he got that from Fox Die? I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. Yes, right, Bucket. Yeah, like he got like food. Yeah, cause he didn't get the nanomachines. Well, Hazu, he was in Metal Gear Solid. He was in the original Metal Gear Solid, not the original Metal Gear. Because in the original Metal Gear Solid, Meryl knocks him out, takes his uniform, and dresses up in it, and that's when you first meet her. Is you discover this guy in his boxers, and then Meryl shows up and holds Snake at gunpoint, and he knows it's her. Yeah, he wouldn't take the shot. Oh, you did say Solid Haseo. I'm sorry, I missed the Solid part. I thought it was just said original Metal Gear. You are right. I'm sorry, I missed that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bob. That's what I'm referencing. All the genome soldiers had Fox sign their inject. Yeah, but Andrea, she didn't get the injections. That's the thing. He said he was scared of needles, so he never received any of the injections. I don't think. That's why he didn't have the nanites either. Is because he didn't receive the injections like the rest of Meryl's team did. Yeah. So I don't think he had Fox die. I don't. And Kaibo, have your ads ended yet? Oh, let's say I don't know. Okay, cool.
Changing the world. It's about doing our best to leave the world the way it is. It's about respecting the will of others.
This is boss's grade, am I correct?
Are the scripts done before we start recording? Yes. Typically
But in the end,
the Japanese version of the game
Oh yeah,
is
I know.
finished first. So the scripts are done, finalized. We can't change anything as we go. But sometimes, like for Metal Gear 4, they were still making the game in Japan while we were recording in the States, in Los Angeles. So the script was done, but again, I had to watch the Japanese mocap actors as opposed to the finished cut scene. So sometimes there's some.
Okay, chat. I have a question. How many of you, after you got, I forget which one of them in Metal Gear Solid 4 it was, the Octo Camouflage, when you got the Octo Camouflage mask, how many of you, after you got that, permanently had yourself looking like young Snake? Because that was an option you had with the Octo Camouflage mask. After you defeat that one, after you defeat the boss, you put that on, and the next scene you're in another country, and you use it to make yourself look like young Snake, and then you can go into your equipment, and you can change you can make the Octo Camouflage mask look like either yourself or Covered or young Snake or Pixel Snake. Yeah. How many of you had it looking like young Snake from that point forward? Really, Dracel? Well, to each his own. Now, to be fair, Dracel, the later games didn't strictly rely on stealth as much. Starting with probably about Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5, you didn't rely on stealth quite so much. You like seeing Midsoul stages drop? Okay.
Crossover in the production of the games, but as far as I know, every time the scripts come to me, they're finished and unchangeable. The biggest surprise for me, it's hard to say what the biggest surprise for me is, because every single game has insane surprises. I mean, when I found out you had to switch the controller port to fool the psychic assassin in Metal Gear.
Yeah, that was fucked. Like, to beat Psycho Mantis, you had to plug the controller into the Player 2 port. That was, shit like that was, that was back when games like this were pioneering just crazy game mechanics. Like, to beat Psycho Mantis in Metal Gear Solid, you actually had to take your controller, unplug it from the first player port, and plug it into the second player port, and then Psycho Mantis could no longer anticipate what you were doing, and you could beat the shit out of him. Stuff like that was just so fucking cool.
Metal Gear Solid, that blew me away, and then when we did Metal Gear 2, we recorded it in order, so I found out with everybody else after the tanker sequence that I was no longer the player character, that Raiden was going to come in, I was going to be more the mentor, so so anything shocking you find in the games probably shocked me first when I got the script.
Wait, they patched it. How could they patch a disc game? Metal Gear Solid wasn't a live service game. How the hell could they patch it? What are you talking about? On a later game. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you mean now. Okay.
But there's definitely been a few.
Wait! It got patched out in the GameCube version? Really? Oh. So when they released the GameCube version, they patched it out. Why would they do that? I thought that was a deliberate mechanic. Why would they do that? That's really fucking odd.
Wait up, Snake. What?
I had expected to come in and star in the.
Okay, I never played Metal Gear Solid 2. He sounds like a complete puss.
There's definitely been a few.
Wait up, Snake.
And then, my god, that's what Raiden sounded like in this game? He sounds like a goober! Hey, dear god! I mean, I guess he's supposed to because he's like the young, impulsive person. Like, he's supposed to be younger and impulsive. But, oh my god, he sounded like... I don't know. He sounded like Rick. Like, he's... Oh, that just... I was not expecting that voice. Like, I understand, he's the rookie. I get that. But even for a rookie, he's still supposedly, like, very highly trained. He's supposed to be, like, highly trained at this point. But yeah, exactly, Chelsea. He sounds like he's 13. I'm not so sure about that voice casting, honestly.
What?
I had expected to come in and star in the game, but
Well, Alex, if Metal Gear Solid 2 is the only game that you've played in the franchise, try the original Metal Gear Solid, try Metal Gear Solid 3, 4, and 5. They're... Especially 3, 4, and 5 are very different games from Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, and I think you'd enjoy them.
You know, that's Hollywood for you, so I just rolled with that. I was like, you know, I kind of feel like people want to play as Snake, but, you know, Quentin Flynn is a friend, and I love his performance as Raiden, and Raiden becomes extremely badass along the way, so...
Yes, he does.
So it was all good in the end. Metal Gear 2 is a great game, and it's a favorite of many of the fans.
No, I have not, Leon. Or Leo, I have not. Oh, this fight. Oh, God, chat. Do you remember this fight? Oh, this was good.
Favorite of many of the fans.
Look.
This is the final battle between Solid
This
Snake
climactic fight.
and Liquid Ocelot. So this is just a knockdown, drag-out fight between two older guys who really dislike each other quite a bit and have been locked in battle for decades.
Yeah. But you know what? Liquid was such a good bad guy. The Liquid Snake or Liquid Ocelot, he was a great, like, bad guy. I loved him. I preferred him as Liquid Snake. Liquid Ocelot, he kind of campy and a bit hammy. But he's still a great fucking bad guy.
This looks like the end of the fight, but this fight was so cool because they used all the different Metal Gear themes that had been written along the way
they did.
to honor the passing of the years.
This is only the beginning, Snake. America will descend into chaos. It'll be the Wild West all over again.
Well, I think that the whole premise is that when Ocelot basically, because Ocelot got his arm chopped off by Grey Fox, and then they basically attached Liquid's arm to him, and it was, I forget exactly what they said happened, but basically Liquid's DNA, or the nanites in Liquid's bloodstream or something, took over Ocelot, and he became Liquid Ocelot. You know, it's the convoluted Hideo Kojima insanity. I don't even think it was mind control. It was literally like Liquid's personality from his DNA, because of his genetic engineering, took over Ocelot or something like that. But it was great.
No law, no order. Fire will spread across the world.
Did he brainwash himself? I don't remember that. It's been a long time since I played it.
Through battle know the fullness of life.
I never really understand the philosophy of people who want fire to spread around the world.
Basement said it was DNA encoded memories that was taking over Revolver. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was something like that, Andrea. I thought that's what it was like. Isn't there a sequence of Metal Gear Solid where you have to button mash to avoid dying? If you button mash too quickly, it thinks you're using a turbo. I don't know, Leo. I don't remember that one. Are you saying an OVE? What? What are you talking about, Xanax? I don't get what you're saying. Wasn't I... Like I said, it's been a long time since I played that. I don't remember that.
Primarily because we
Okay,
live in
right.
the world, and
basically, Xanax, yeah.
fire is uncomfortable. So it's a strange motivation to me, but it is satisfying to beat the living bejesus out of someone with that attitude.
Our Father's will is out in heaven.
And by the way, I've seen on YouTube before. David Hayter, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the voice actor who did the voice for Liquid Snake. They actually had this funny little rivalry where they would record videos to each other in the voices, like voice acting their characters. Like David Hayter would act like he's Snake, and the other voice actor would pretend like he's Liquid. And they would like record small, like 2-3 minute videos on YouTube and post them. And it was like this funny little like rivalry that they were doing. It was so cool.
Is complete.
I do love that these guys just fought each other to utter exhaustion. And then they have a big conversation, which is very Hideo Kojima.
Yes, it is.
We are beasts created by man. Unless the light.
That's Patrick Zimmerman as Liquid Ocelot, who's just a great actor, amazing voice.
Yeah, he did good with this.
Racing shadows will do no good. I am Liquid's doppelganger. And you are his.
The first Metal Gear, I got the script in advance. I had some time to prepare, but it was, 1,000 pages. It was just a stack of papers. And I didn't have time to go through it all. Every game after that was top secret. So really, we get the scripts on the day. And when you hear me speak a line, it's probably the first or second time that I've said it. So that's tricky as well to make it sound.
I can imagine.
Fresh and spontaneous and to not be thrown by, weird tangents and comments. So and there's a lot of those. So
TikTok,
there are times when I, as a writer, might say, look, would it be clearer if we said it like this? Or on some Japanese games, I speak basic Japanese, and on some Japanese games, I'll say, well, play the Japanese for me, and maybe I'll get a better idea what they're saying. So I used to do that on like anime dubs and stuff. But for Metal Gear, there is no change in the script. Every word must be said as it's written in the script. So I learned pretty early on that they weren't going to.
Well, I mean, you can't fault them for that entirely if they want to try and keep it secret, because the gaming industry has had many leaks in the past. And if they've had a problem with it, they've kind of got to do that, unfortunately. Yeah, Vinny, like that was like a brain exploding moment where it's like, okay, these two are clones of Big Boss? Holy shit. That's kind of like, I think when that reveal happened, that was probably the first, like, oh shit, we're, this, that kind of like started the insanity of the Metal Gear franchise. Like before then, the Metal Gear franchise was pretty standard. There wasn't a whole hell of a lot of craziness. And then they reveal that Solid and Liquid were clones of Big Boss, and it's like, okay, now shit's going crazy, and they just kept ramping it up afterwards.
They didn't want any suggestions from me as a writer, and that's fine. That's you know, they hire you as an actor, and if you just hire me as an actor, then I won't do any writing. If you're open to collaborating on the writing, then I'm happy to do it. But yeah, Metal Gear is not that situation.
But that was some fancy shooting. You're pretty good.
Oh god, this scene. Oh man. I remember this scene.
You know, the goal of storytelling, cinematic storytelling, is to make the audience feel what the character is feeling. And I don't think there's ever been a scene in video games that did that more effectively than this. This is so painful to watch him go through this microwave tunnel. It was painful to perform. And the really cruel thing about it is he just gets slower and slower. And the player just wants to get out of there and get him free of this horrific torture. But the game just slows him down more and more, and you don't even know if he's going to survive to get out. So
yeah, and he's right. Like when I played this, number one, I was like, holy shit, where do I look? Because I saw all the shit going on up here, and then you head down here, and you're like, you don't know if you're going to need to do a button press or something, so you can't really focus on the huge battle happening up here, and you don't know if Snake is going to fucking make it. Like I thought, like at the end of this, I thought Snake was done. I thought, okay, this is they're gonna kill Snake off. This felt like he's gonna get to he'll get to the end of a tunnel and he'll hit a button and he'll die and that's the end of the game. That's what this scene felt like for me. I thought for sure that's what was gonna happen.
It's just an extraordinarily emotional scene. It just has great impact, I think. I don't think he's going to make it. Every time I watch this scene, I'm like, he's not going to make it. But this also illustrates why audiences love Snake, because he will go...
Yeah, and then you had fucking Raiden, and this is why I was so hard to watch. You had fucking Raiden up here in the top panel, fighting a squad of elite troopers, with no arms, and holding a goddamn katana in his mouth. And was fighting these troopers with the katana in his mouth. And you're trying to focus on controlling Snake. Like, that made this level so fucking hard because you didn't know. You wanted to watch what was going on, but you didn't want to stop them moving.
Snake, snake, snake.
He will go through absolute, literal hell to save his friends, to accomplish the mission, and to take down Metal Gear. But again, going through the scene like this and just...
But you know what, chat? You know what? Snakebite might be an old man. But damn, he's still got a good ass. Look at that cake. He's still got for being an old man in his 60s or 70s, physically speaking. He done caked up. That's a nice ass.
Struggling to get Snake out of there is what really bonds people to the character. Like it's not like watching a movie. It's like you feel like you are the character and you feel like you're going through it. And so sometimes when I'll meet, grown men, they'll burst into tears and are very surprised by that reaction. But it's this weird symbiotic relationship where we've been through so much together over the years. And it's like meeting an old friend. So it's a very cool thing. Just illustrates the power of well executed art and storytelling. You think if
And by the
Snake
way,
had
that's
been with
Meryl
Meryl
right
during
there.
that shootout that you'd married him instead of Johnny Sasaki? I don't know. I'm still bitter about that.
You know what? I honestly thought after Metal Gear Solid, I thought for sure that him and Meryl were gonna basically be a thing after Metal Gear Solid. I thought for sure that the conclusion of that, they would go back to his cabin and they would like live their lives together. I thought for it seemed like it seemed like that was what was gonna happen. And I'm kind of surprised when it didn't.
There's Sonny's fried egg. Looks like
Yeah,
he finally
Drum.
made
I
the
didn't
eggs
know back
properly. A good shot of his butt. The butt has been a matter of some controversy for some time. He's been nerfed on a number of occasions.
No. They nerfed the ass. Damn you, Konami! They got the Tracer treatment before Tracer. This is the original Tracer treatment, chat.
Occasions. How is it working with Hideo Kojima? A lot of people ask me that, and the answer is I have no
true,
idea.
Alex. Very true. Now he can sneak past the guards and they won't hear the clapping of his cheeks because he's dummy thick. Yeah, it does work for him in a tactical perspective.
I've never worked with Mr. Kojima. He makes the game in Japan, and then it comes to America, and then it's Chris Zimmerman Salter who has directed the English language performances of every Metal Gear game. So I've met Mr. Kojima. He came out to visit us a couple of times, showed us cutscenes from the games. Very nice guy, very quiet, but I've never actually sat in the booth and worked with him. Did I realize this snake in the box was going to be so iconic? Yeah, I believe I did off the first game. Once I saw, like, him hiding in the box was cool, a cool idea. But when I saw that you could actually...
Yeah, in Metal Gear Solid 5, you could do like a flying slide in the box and take out a bad guy.
Idea. But when I saw that you could actually walk around in the box, and it was just two little legs at the bottom of the box, I was like, okay, that's hilarious. And I thought that people would really be
it's a fun mechanic.
And I was right. I think the gameplay in Metal Gear 5 is my favorite. It's kind of the most fun to play, but I love, each of the games is different, and the fixed camera and the way that affects the story in Metal Gear Solid is amazing. I loved the slightly more open world feel of Snake Eater, the big shell. The gameplay is always unique and it's always incredible, but yeah, Metal Gear 5, that open world, the way the weapons worked, and just really felt...
Yeah, like, I like a lot of people throw shade at it. I liked Metal Gear Solid 5. I did, even though you were playing, where they didn't have David Hayter voice acting, which I was disappointed about that they had Kiefer Sutherland playing the voice actor for Venom Snake, but it does make sense in a way, because if they'd had, granted, it was still his voice when you see, at the end of Metal Gear Solid 5 and you see the flashback and it's still Kiefer Sutherland's voice. If they made that David Hayter's voice, if David Hayter had voiced the actual big boss and Kiefer Sutherland did the voice of Venom Snake, that would work, because spoilers for anybody that's not played Metal Gear Solid 5, spoiler warning right now. The Snake that you play in Metal Gear Solid 5 is not the real Snake. Like, yes, he becomes Big Boss and everything, but he's not the real Snake. He is he has plastic surgery to make him look like Snake. While the actual Snake, who is Big Boss now, kind of goes off and starts working stuff behind the scenes, and then comes out of the shadows after Snake kills Big Boss in the Metal Gear Solid, the original franchise. So if they'd had like David Hayter do the voice of Big Boss and Kiefer Sutherland do the voice of Venom Snake, that would make sense, and that would actually be pretty fucking cool. Where you don't hear Big Boss really speak until that last flashback in the game, where it's revealed that Venom Snake is a clone. Well, not a clone, but Venom Snake is just some fucking rando that has received plastic surgery and hypnosis to make him think he's Venom Snake. And then in the flashback, you hear David Hayter actually do the voice of Big Boss. That would have been fucking awesome. And I do think it was something of a fail on the part of Hideo Kojima and Konami not to do it that way. It is, like, that would have, I think all the misgivings people had about the fact that David Hayter did not do the voice of Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5 could have been forgiven if they did that. And it's possible, Big Dog. I don't remember David Hayter or you mean Hideo and Kojima. Well, but regardless of Hideo Kojima and Konami beefing at the time, this is irregardless. It's still, like, this is just a voice actor choice, and it could have worked.
Very natural and extremely cool.
Something to tell you about Naomi Hunter. What about her?
Naomi.
She might be a spy.
Naomi was hot too. And I forget who her voice actor was. The voice actor for Naomi Hunter, she's done a lot of shit too. She was a great voice actor, but Naomi was hot. Like, that's the thing. All the women in the Metal Gear games, it's an anime staple, but all the women in Metal Gear games were hot. It was great. You know, Snake was just surrounded by hot women.
To kill me? Is that all you cared about?
Frank Yeager. The man who you destroyed was my brother and my only family.
Yeah.
Great Fox.
You killed my benefactor and sent my brother home.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite sequences in the whole Metal Gear series. In Metal Gear 4, you go back to Shadow Moses Island, where you infiltrated in Metal Gear Solid, the first game I was in, and it's an abandoned base, but it's locations and it's super cool. And then, coolest of all, you get to have a mecha fight between Metal Gear Rex and
this
Metal Gear
was so
Ray.
Cool to do.
For the first time in Metal Gear history, you as Snake get to pilot a Metal Gear and try to take down another Metal Gear. So, brilliant sequence and one of my favorite action sequences of all the games.
Oh.
Yeah, Naked Snake versus the boss. This is arguably the most tragic sequence in gaming history, I think, where Snake is forced to go up against his former mentor, and eventually you're forced, once you beat her.
And what's like the soundtrack for Snake Eater, like that sound, you kind of hear it when he's talking about it. So just take a listen, chat. Listen to this.
Yeah, Naked Snake versus,
like, 100%. They took, they went full James Bond on that one with that soundtrack right there. They 100% went, okay, they basically just absolutely, Andrew, exactly. Except Snake wasn't a womanizer, but he was basically like the American James Bond of the series, just without the sleeping with a lot of women part. Ribble Spartan, keep it in your back pocket for right now.
This is the boss. This is arguably the most tragic sequence in gaming history, I think.
True.
Where Snake is forced to go up against his former mentor, and eventually you're forced, once you beat her, you're forced to kill her. You can't move the game forward until you shoot her, and it's really, it's cruel and it's tragic, and Laurie
Oh, she
Allen,
was
who
Red
played the
Bastard.
boss, is so good in this scene, and Every time that moment comes up, I want to find some way to avoid.
And J10, I'm sure there probably is.
There is no way, because that's just like, we were recently doing interviews for Metal Gear Delta. And Lori was concerned because she was like, I've never played the games. I don't remember what we did. And so I sent her videos of the scenes we'd done together, including this one. And then she called me back and she was in tears. And she's like, it's so beautiful and it's so sad. And
really?
After 20 years, she finally understood what kind of impact her performance had on people and how devastating this storyline is. So again, it's so gutsy of Kojima to put in something so cinematic and so tragic in an action game. It's
honestly, by this point in the Metal Gear franchise, I don't know if it was gutsy for Kojima to put this kind of tragic, heart-wrenching thing in. He kind of, if memory serves, he was kind of doing that already in previous games. He kind of did that in the other two Metal Gear games, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know if I would call it gutsy for him to do this. I do think that like Snake Eater was the first in the franchise that really had such a strong emotional story to it. Like 100% Snake Eater was the beginning of those really strong emotional pulling at your heartstring kind of stories. And Snake Eater was the first one that he was able to do that. And like really nail it on the head. And then he was able to go even further with each subsequent game. And it worked really well. Like, the story is what everybody remembers about the Metal Gear games. 100%. It is the story. That's why it's such a beloved franchise.
It really is like living in a movie. Aw, is this boss's horse? What the hell did you do? The horse is thinking. You bastard. Yeah, it's just
don't fuck the horse. The horse will fuck you up.
By Lori, Alan, and Kojima, and the musicians, the designers. Like, that's a masterpiece, that scene. I was lucky to be a part of it.
The music, like, they obviously went with a very clear mixture of James Bond and, like, Japanese samurai kind of films in terms of the musical choices. And it worked out really fucking well. The combination of those two styles of music worked really well with the Metal Gear franchise. Because you have, an American soldier, but it's done in the style of basically like Japanese anime. And they were able to make this mesh and work so well. It was so awesome.
For a Metal Gear Solid TV show, I would love for them to do it animated, and then I would just... So my dream casting would be me. And all the original voice casts. All of the Metal Gear actors pretty much are very close. We see each other at Comic-Cons and we're friends outside of work, and I would do whatever possible to keep that group together. Now, if it's a $200 million live action film...
Oh, no. If they do a live action Metal Gear, it's going to suck. 100% it's going to suck. Metal Gear as a franchise is made for anime. The way Hideo Kojima wrote it, it is a fucking anime. It is an anime video game. You cannot make it live action. It will not work. Flat out. It only works in an anime format. You are not going to be able to get those scenes, those movements where you get the scenes like where Big Boss whips off her cloak, and it's like that cool slow-mo shot that you only see in anime. If you try and do that live action, it's not going to fucking work. So please, dear God, keep Hollywood away from this. Give this to a Japanese anime studio. If you're gonna do it, do not let US Hollywood lay their hands on it. Do not. I would like to see a Metal Gear anime of Metal Gear Solid. That is what I would like to see. I'd like to see Metal Gear Solid, the anime. 100%. I think that would be fucking awesome if they did that.
I know Tom Rothman, the president
Yes,
of
Studio Trigger's
Sony Pictures, and
Let's be honest here, unless produced by a Japanese anime studio, any American studio would probably change the casting significantly.
Right, but in this day and age, Redmond, yes. That's why I said keep it the fuck away from Hollywood. Absolutely keep it away from Hollywood.
did a couple movies together, and he is unlikely to hire me to star in a $200 million movie. Yeah, I thought Oscar Isaac was a good choice. I always loved Hugh Jackman as Solid Snake because I think he's a super nice man.
I don't know about Hugh Jackman. Oscar Isaac, no. I do not like Oscar Isaac. If I had to cast a live action, I would not cast Oscar Isaac. I would not cast Hugh Jackman. Honestly, ideally, Henry Cavill would be a good pick. Yes, Henry Cavill would absolutely be a good pick. If he's a little too old now, fucking Kurt Russell. Russell would be a fan-fucking-tastic choice for Snake. Absolutely fantastic choice. He's a bit old now, unfortunately. Henry Cavill could be. Who else would be good these days? I'd have to think about it.
Looks like Snake, and while he can be super tough, he's got this softer side, this emotional side that I think is really important to playing Snake, and that it not just be a flat out, sort of Clint Eastwood tough guy. Snake is complex and strange and sort of driven by his love of the people he cares about. So I think Hugh would be amazing, and seen some other people suggested, and some of them
correct,
I agree
Roddy.
with,
He is
some of them
way
I
too
don't.
big.
What can I say about Metal Gear Delta? I can't say too much about. I mean, I can't give you any spoilers about it, but I can say that I played the opening sequence of the game, and it's spectacular. It's so beautiful. The work on it is just stunning. Metal Gear 3 is arguably the most popular, the most beloved of games in the series, and I tend to agree with that. I think it's the most perfect sort of full movie experience of all the games. The location is amazing.
Does anyone know if they're going to be releasing Metal Gear Delta on PC, or is it going to be strictly PlayStation? My fear is it's going to be strictly PlayStation, but I hope they actually release it on PC.
Characters are amazing. Story's great. This is an opportunity for a new generation of players to experience that game with next gen graphics, and it'll be primarily the original voice tracks. So
nice.
It'll sound like it did back in the day. It just should be a perfect.
Oh, that's what they're doing. Interesting. So they're not redoing the. If I'm understanding him correctly, they're not redoing the lines. They're taking the original voice tracks and laying them over the all-new graphics. Interesting. Oh, Norman Reedus. Geronimo's, yeah, Norman Reedus could be a good choice. Possibly a good choice. Okay, so, yeah, that's interesting. So they're not re-recording lines, they're just laying over the old voice track. I wonder how well that's going to play out.
A blend of old and new, and I just hope people dig it. What was it like when I got cast as Snake, and did I know he and potentially I would become gaming icons? I'm friends with Adam Duritz, who's lead singer for Counting Crows, and so I had auditioned for the game. And then Counting Crows was making an album up in the Hollywood Hills, and I was broke, so I would go up there because they had free food, and And I was out there, my old Motorola StarTAC cell phone rang, and I went out to the pool, sat on the diving board, and
Wait. They couldn't get a PNG of an actual StarTAC? That's not a StarTAC phone. That is not. I don't know what that is, but that's not a StarTAC phone. They couldn't get a PNG of an actual StarTAC? Come on.
I answered the phone, and it was Jennifer Hale, a legendary voice actress.
Okay, that's who did Naomi Hunter. Jennifer Hale is who did the voice work for Naomi Hunter in Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 4. Great voice actor. She's done so many voices.
Actress. And she knew how broke I was and how much I was struggling as an actor. And she called me, and I said hello, and she said, guess who's going to make some money? I was like, is it me? Because it would be really nice if it was me.
Oh yeah, she's
and
hot.
It turned out it was me. So I got this part. I was so excited. And I went in to record. I had seen the Yoji Shinkawa artwork up when I did the audition, so I knew already that the artwork behind it was next level and, super cool.
I love those sketch
But when I went in to record the first day, they played the cutscene where Snake shoots down the Hind D helicopter. I knew that the game was going to be big. I knew that they were taking a big swing in terms of it being cinematic and the amount of acting we were doing, the level of the writing. You do these things and they come out, and if they're good, they people talk about them for a couple years and then they disappear. But that one was just a seismic change in gaming, and I was so lucky to be a part of it. So I sort of suspected it would be successful, but I had no idea it would have the impact that it ultimately did. This has been Experts React. Thank you so much for having me. I hope you enjoyed the interview. And to everyone out there, I just want to say, hey, you're pretty good.
That was great.
Guard hearing a noise, sees a cardboard box.
Yeah, kind of ranks right up there with, must have been the wind.